Hello, everyone. Dear friends, in this universe where motorcycles are rare but fistfights are everywhere, the helmet is a rider's honor. It is their very lifeblood. However, once that helmet cracks, it usually signifies one of two things. Either, bro, you are insanely badass and immortal, or, well, it's over, you're about to be deleted. Today, let's fasten our seatbelts, strap on our helmets tight, and review the most classic, tear-jerking face reveal moments in Kamen Rider history. Let's go! 8. Kamen Rider Evil, Kamen Rider Revice, Episode 29. We come to Kamen Rider Revice, where brotherly love and self-love are taken to a new level. Daiji Igarashi is an interesting case. One body, two personalities. One is the gentle, righteous Daiji. The other is the demon Kagero, evil, who is cool, loves super spicy curry, and wears heavy makeup. The relationship between Daiji and Kagero was like cats and dogs. By episode 26, the conflict peaked, and they decided to separate for a 1v1 solo. This match is called I Beat Myself Up to See Who Hurts More. Kagero constantly used trash talk to provoke, poking at Daiji's weaknesses to make him explode. In the decisive clash, Daiji, now wholly live, a form as white as an angel, unleashed a massive rider kick, or punch depending on the angle, at Kagero, evil. The hit was so hard it completely shattered Kamen Rider Evil's mask. Kagero fell, the broken mask revealing a face identical to Daiji's, but with an arrogant smile. The truth was revealed. Kagero intentionally provoked Daiji to make him decisive and stronger. He accepted sacrifice, accepted disappearing so Daiji could complete himself. Evil's broken helmet wasn't just the end for the Kagero personality, but a unification, a massive growth for Daiji. Kagero vanished, leaving behind the Holy Wing V-stamp and a lingering sadness for those who fell for this demon's bad boy charm. This is truly the definition of, to succeed, you have to break your own limits.
7. Kamen Rider Geiz, from KamenRiderZiO Episode 49. The final episode of KamenRiderZiO is a hot pot of emotions, and Geiz is the spiciest ingredient. Geiz Milcoin, the boy from the future whose mission was initially to kill Sogo, ultimately became the Demon King's best frenemy. When Schwartz, another decade, was wrecking Sogo and preparing a finishing blow, Geiz did what every best friend in anime or tokusatsu does. He jumped in to take the bullet. Schwartz's destructive attack slammed straight into Geiz. The Geiz Revive armor, which already drains the user's health, now took critical damage. The result, the helmet shattered, revealing Geiz's blood-soaked face. He fell into Sogo's arms. This scene is heartbreaking because Geiz used his last breath not to complain about the pain, but to preach to Sogo. He admitted Sogo was his greatest friend and advised him to become Onodera, but a benevolent king. Geiz's death was the last straw, the psychological shock that caused Sogo to go chaos mode. Sogo screamed, and boom, Onodera appeared, soloing the entire map with one hand. You could say Geiz's broken helmet was the key to unlocking Onodera's invincible power. Geiz sacrificed his helmet and his life in exchange for a good king for the future. A high-return investment, though a net loss for Geiz personally. Goodbye, Geiz, the greatest tsundere in Heisei history.
6. Kamen Rider Rogue, Kamen Rider Build, Episode 48. Coming to Kamen Rider Build, we have Himuro Gentoku, Kamen Rider Rogue, the man with the most disastrous fashion sense in the show, but the most artistic death. After Potato Grease, Kazumi, had sacrificed himself earlier, the build team's morale was extremely tense. The opponent was Evolto, the final boss with cosmic-level power, a guy who could delete a planet just by sneezing. Knowing that normal attacks wouldn't work, Gentoku decided to use a desperate gambit. He charged in to lock Evolto down, accepting every attack just to create an opening to destroy the evil trigger, the source of his power. Gentoku at this moment was like a crazed crocodile, clamping down on its prey and refusing to let go. To escape, Evolto gathered energy and unleashed a destructive punch straight into Rogue's face. Boom! The crocodile head helmet shattered into tiny pieces. Gentoku was sent flying, rolling across the floor. His face was revealed, covered in scars and blood, looking utterly tragic. But he smiled. A satisfied smile. Because he succeeded in weakening Evolto, paving a path to victory for Sento, Build. His final words, "I'm counting on you guys," before fading into glowing particles made fanboys and fangirls cry like rain. From a hateful villain at the start, becoming a comedian with weird t-shirts, and finally sacrificing himself like a true hero. That broken helmet was his liberation, the perfect redemption for the tumultuous life of the man who did it for the greater good. Respect, Gentoku.
5. Kamen Rider Drive. Movie Surprise Future. Switching to a family-themed movie that is equally violent. Kamen Rider Drive. Surprise Future. The story revolves around Shinosuke, Drive, and his son from the future, Eiji Tamori. But plot twist, that son is actually an imposter. Paradox, Roid Mood 108. Shinosuke fought a literal life-or-death battle with this fake son. Even in Type Special form, a super cool form just for the movie, Shinosuke was getting fed onions by the mouthful. The enemy's power was immense. He punched Shinosuke through a concrete wall and threw him like a sack of rice. The peak of brutality was when Paradox unleashed a combo of punches to Drive's head. Pow, pow, pow. Each punch landed like a sledgehammer. A close-up, zoom in, showed the Type Special helmet completely smashed, the visor blown away, revealing one of Shinosuke's eyes dripping with blood. This image was incredibly painful, but also full of spirit. Shinosuke isn't a born superhero. He's just a traffic cop with a fancy car. But the way he stood up with a bloodied head, eyes burning with the determination to protect humanity's future, and his title as a young dad, gave the audience goosebumps. This is proof that, even if the car runs out of gas, the tires wear out, and the helmet breaks, the engine of justice in Shinosuke's heart never stalls.
4. Kamen Rider Zangetsu. Kamen Rider Gaim, Episode 36. If the scenes above were action-heavy, this scene in Kamen Rider Gaim is a fruit-themed Shakespearean tragedy. The confrontation between the Kirishima brothers, Takatora, Zangetsu, Melon, and Mitsuzane, Michi, Grape, Melon, Shin. Takatora is a strict brother who loves his sibling infinitely. Meanwhile, Michi is in his peak rebellious phase, or as fans call it, the Darkening, using the Genesis driver and the fancy Zangetsu Shin armor. Theoretically, the Shin suit is stronger, but in terms of skill, Takatora completely outplayed his little brother. The older brother slapped the younger one around, teaching him that experience beats youth. However, tragedy struck right as Takatora prepared the finishing blow, Rider Kick. Memories flooded back like a slow-motion film, images of the little brother he once cared for. The older brother's soft heart made Takatora hesitate. He couldn't kill his brother. But Michi was different. With the motto, "If you don't kill me, I'll kill you." Taking advantage of the moment his brother was lagging due to family affection, Michi swung his sword for a critical slash. Clash. The Zangetsu Melon Arms helmet shattered. Takatora was sent flying, free-falling into the cold, deep sea. The image of the broken mask floating along with Takatora's shocked face before sinking is one of the most haunting scenes in the series. It was the shattering of trust, of brotherhood, and a slap in the face to those who believe being a good person pays off. After this, Michi officially received the title of Worst Brother of the Year, while the audience shed liters of tears and threw bricks at writer Gen Yorobuchi.
3. Kamen Rider G3X, Kamen Rider Decade, Episode 13. Drifting over to the world of Kamen Rider Decade, wherever the destroyer photographer Tsukasa goes, that world gets ruined. In the world of Agito, the G3X role was given to Yusuke Onodera, Kuga AR version. Usually this guy is pretty useless and serves as comic relief, but in episode 13, he had the brightest moment of the night. The opponent was the Ant Lord, Formica Pedesis, an ant monster with brute strength. In a situation where Tsukasa, Decade, was distracted and about to get skewered, Onodera didn't hesitate to jump out as a meat shield. He used his own body in the G3X armor, the upgraded version of the unlucky G3 above, to take the hit. The Antlord's weapon slashed straight into the G3X face. Crack. Again, the familiar sound of expensive plastic breaking. One eye of the G3X helmet was gone, revealing Yusuke's face, grimacing in pain. Why is this scene so valuable? Because it showed Yusuke Onodera's growth. From someone who relied on others, he dared to sacrifice himself for a teammate. That broken helmet wasn't a sign of failure, but a medal of courage. Immediately after, not letting this sacrifice go to waste, and to save money on fixing the helmet again, Decade and the original Agito rushed in to support. A satisfying group beatdown ensued to send the monster to the afterlife. Lesson learned, never touch the main rider's friend, or you will get fed onions by the whole rider gang until you die. Also, condolences to the police technical department, another bill for replacing G3X class. 2.
Kamen Rider Blade and Garren from Kamen Rider Blade. When mentioning Kamen Rider Blade, we don't just remember the legendary Ondo language, we also have to remember the poor durability of the helmets produced by Board. Perhaps the budget went into printing the Rouse cards, so the helmet quality was a bit cheap. We have two legendary helmet-breaking moments here. First is Kenzaki Blade in episode 26. The opponent is the Elephant Undead, a monster as big as a house holding a hammer as big as a pillar. Kenzaki, with his familiar tank the damage fighting style, took a smash that pierced the soul. The hit was so hard it didn't just shake the ground, it shattered a huge chunk of the left side of Blade's helmet like a potato chip. Kenzaki collapsed, gasping, his face twisted in pain revealed behind the broken mask. This scene made the audience feel both pity and amusement, because he looked so miserable. It confirmed a truth: never use your head to block a hammer, even if you are the main rider. Next is the legend Tachibana Sakuya Garren in episode 47. This is the pinnacle of the art of helmet breaking. In the decisive battle with the Giraffe Undead, Kanai, Tachibana-san activated blood-selling mode. Even though he was using Zero form, his body was falling apart. Kanai showed no mercy, attacking Garren's face repeatedly as if Garren owed him money. The mask shattered completely, revealing Tachibana's blood and sweat-soaked face. But in that life-or-death moment, the coolness of Principal Tachibana exploded. Ignoring the broken helmet, ignoring the pain, he raised the Garren Rouser and executed the zero-distance technique. Boom! A point-blank shot sent Kanai to the dust. The image of Garren standing there, mask blown open, panting but standing tall, became a monument. It taught us a helmet can break, but a man's aura never chips, unless he gets tricked again.
Number 1. Kamen Rider G3, Kamen Rider Agito, Episode 22. If we have to find the unluckiest character in the franchise, I would like to boldly nominate Hikawa Makoto, the gold medalist in the sport of getting wrecked. He's just a normal human, no mutant genes, not an alien. He's just a handsome police officer donning the G3 suit, running on batteries and sheer courage. And in episode 22 of Kamen Rider Agito, that concept of being flesh and blood was demonstrated painfully but heroically. The context is a chain of misunderstandings straight out of a Korean drama. Ryo Ashihara, Kamen Rider Gills, the most aggressive guy in the show, sees his crush Aki Sakaki log out, die, in Agito's arms. With an IQ inversely proportional to his muscle mass at the time, Gills automatically assumes Agito is the killer. Driven by rage, Gills rushes in to physically educate Agito without missing a beat. At this point, Hikawa, G3, with his Defender of Justice spirit, jumps in to intervene. But alas, G3 versus a raging Gills was like throwing an egg at a rock or racing a bicycle against a tank. Despite G3's attempts to explain or defend, Gills unleashed attacks with devastating power. The peak of this beatdown was a heel drop from high above. Imagine a green monster jumping up, putting his entire body weight into his heel and stomping straight onto G3's face as he lay flat on the ground. The result? Clang! A harsh sound rang out. The left eye lens of the G3 helmet shattered, revealing Hikawa's dazed, panicked, and helpless eye inside. This shot wasn't just physically painful, it was visually shocking. It showed the terrifying gap in power. One side was wild, berserk strength, the other was crumbling human technology. Hikawa's eye behind that broken glass seemed to say, "Rider, why do I suffer in every episode?" But that very brokenness honored his bravery, knowing he would lose but rushing in anyway, a true model police officer.
Wow, so we have journeyed through the most memorable head-splitting moments in the Kamen Rider universe, from helmet breaks due to occupational hazards to tear-jerking sacrifices to save the world. As you can see, the insurance cost for the rider profession is extremely high, and the durability of helmets in the movies is directly proportional to the thickness of the plot armor. Which helmet-breaking moment impressed you the most? Or is there a scene I accidentally left out? Leave a comment below so we can chat about it. If you found this video interesting, don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe. And hit the bell so you don't miss the next salty video. Goodbye, and see you in the next video where we analyze the durability of rider belts. Peace!